Awkward second. Oh, hey, that was faster than I thought. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and with us today is the talented and professional Meredith Gerber, who has graced our little dog and monkey show with her presence to tell us what's going on with DrivethruRPG / One Bookshelf these days. How you doing, Meredith?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm awesome. As always, it's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
And my co-host today are Jacob Blackman.
I believe Walt is the dog and I am the monkey.
And that's Walt Rebelliard of Hatchet Studios. How you doing, Walt?
Cheers.
All right. And you are on, where are you exactly, Walt? What is that Zoom background you have working?
That's nice looking, huh?
He's in
Yeah.
space.
Mm.
You're in the wrecked bridge of a Star Destroyer?
I got to broadcast from where I can, man.
We don't talk about Walt's day job. Maybe we're better off not knowing.
Yeah. Full contact Scrabble champion and let's see, Kung Fu supermodel. You know,
I was going to work in Galactic Federation because that was a trending topic on Twitter, but you just blew me away with those random non sequiturs. So let's just plow on.
So we got Meredith Gerber here on the show.
We got Meredith Gerber here on the show.
Hey.
Hey, Meredith. And I think she's regretting it already. I'm sorry, Meredith. We'll try better.
No, space is cool. Space is cool. It's fine. We could talk about that for hours too. That's perfectly fine.
Good. And if Twitter is to be believed, apparently there's aliens and they know about us and they want us to stay at arm's length. And who can blame them, really?
Yeah, just take a look at our world.
So, but hey, let's look at things that DrivethruRPG has going on. Like, did anyone know? You guys should know, twitchtv.com/One Bookshelf. There's a Twitch channel right now, like all the cool kids have, for One Bookshelf. What do you guys have going on there, Meredith?
So we originally had the Twitch for our new site where we wanted to like show off all the new features and things like that. But we wanted to be able to utilize it more. So we have five different shows. Yeah, we have 5 different shows. They change every month, but the schedule is pretty much the same. Our first one is One Bookshelf 101. That's myself and Adriel. Adriel is our new person. They've been with us for, I think, 2-3 months. So they're still relatively new, but they take care of our independent publishers. Okay. And we get together and we talk about just kind of the 101 things that are happening for Drive-Thru. And they go immediately to our YouTube. Pretty much I try to upload them the day of. But they're good tips and reminders for publishers who've been with us for a long time or publishers who are just starting. We just finished our marketing one last week. So that's 1. Okay. And then 2 is what you were seeing the screenshot of, which is Learn to Play. Lisa, who is our DMs Guild brand manager, takes a game off of Drive-Thru or any of our sister sites and throws our coworkers into it and runs a session for the first time so people can see it like naturally happen, as opposed to, they have their character sheets ready and they kind of run a one-shot campaign. So that's kind of exciting. And then next week, and usually the 3rd week, is Dungeon Masters Guild Community Jam, where Lisa, again, who's our big runner on Twitch, she goes in and gets people from DMs Guild and they kind of talk about topics like editing, getting started. So it's like One Bookshelf 101, except she has guests on from DMs Guild, and also they have very specific topics like we do too. And then our 4th one is Chat Ventures. We haven't launched that yet, but we are doing it where Lisa's going to pull solo adventures and run them with chat. So chat's going to essentially tell her what to do, where to go, and things like that. So that's super fun. And then we have a super special, like, one-off. We're doing it this month for Christmas Eve, story time, where Lisa reads from Drive-Thru Fiction. So, yeah.
There you go.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jeff Stormer is the guy whose game you're playing here, Mission Accomplished. And we actually had him on a couple of years ago to talk about that when he was doing the Kickstarter.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
awesome.
he does the Party of One podcast. He is a hilarious dude.
Fantastic.
So he's a lot of fun to have on. All right, cool. And you mentioned your YouTube channel. Okay, we're on YouTube right now. Hey, YouTube people. And we should mention that One Bookshelf also has, this YouTube channel right here. If you search for One Bookshelf, you guys come up. And as you can see, you mentioned the basics of marketing promotion. It's right there. And super handy resources for publishers. So yeah, something to check how to set up your account. and the DMs Guild community jams that you mentioned. So sweet.
Yep.
Very good resource, one people should know about. So, oh my, you have tutorials for Adobe X.
Yes, we do. So those were put up a couple of months ago. We just had it for Adobe 9 and before. And so now there are 2 different playlists for Adobe X and beyond, and then Adobe 9 and before. So, but yeah, so that's in the playlists. And then designing drive-through was kind of that, we mentioned it with the Twitch, where Ben, our awesome, fantastic product manager, essentially goes through what the new site is. It's just a little bit more in depth from what you're seeing from the beta. You'll obviously see some differences because it was recorded kind of a bit ago, but you know, it's good in that regard to kind of see why he's doing certain things or like what choices he made for the homepage. So, which is really, really cool.
So we should talk about the beta site.
We should.
Tell us about the beta site, Meredith.
I would love to.
Wow, your blunt force segues are getting better and better.
I'm sorry. I used to be so much better at this. I don't know what happened. It's
we all stopped drinking.
Yeah. Like Dean Martin, I work best inebriated. But it's noon in Denver, folks, so we can't do that. And so much drinking talk. We don't actually drink that much here. I apologize. Meredith, DrivethruRPG, One Bookshelf, all those sites are getting a great new beta site. Tell us about it.
So we have launched it a couple times. It's not, the link is not live right now, probably because tech is doing some background stuff. But we're giving a taste of the mobile site and our desktop site in the new beta. And so far, so good on feedback. We have made sure that we've been listening to the feedback. They read every single piece. So if you do see it pop up, please give us your feedback on it. More descriptive, the better. Would be super rad if possible. So that's really good. We don't have a date of rollout yet. But as soon as we do, we're going to find that. It's amazing. Like, I'm not even just saying that because I work for DrivethruRPG. Like, it is so good, and it just looks nice, and it's modern, and it's clean. Because we've had that site forever. Yeah.
No, I can't recall seeing DrivethruRPG with a different style. So this new style that you have planned it's really sleek. It's easy to use. It's very nice on the eyes. It is aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to actually go through it and check it out.
One thing I was wondering is, hey, Alan.
I love Alan.
One thing I was wondering is, right now, a lot of the times, will there be more behind-the-scene tools for publishers to better understand their sales?
Yep.
Yeah. Why don't you go with that before I hit my question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's called Phoenix is what it's called, is what the new site is called, and our current site is called Legacy. So if you hear me use those terms, that's what's going on. So Phoenix is not just a revamp of look. We have been talking with publishers in focus groups, essentially, to improve the tools as well. So that includes sales, obviously, absolutely. And also we're going to have a new look for the medal ranking system and things like that. So all of the tools are going to get overhauled as well into that too.
All right, cool. And I've got a question from Brad Randall about DMs Guild. Just 1 second. And for any of our listeners out in iTunes land, this is my Brad Randall voice. I know the main problem with DMs Guild and DrivethruRPG is that they have a lot of sellers and relatively few buyers. What efforts have been going into increasing consumer interaction? Brad with the tough questions. Okay.
It's a good one, though. So it's a very long answer because there's a couple of things that we're doing and brainstorming on. So I would say I can get back to you on that specifically because there's a lot of different ways that we do try to increase that consumer interaction. I know that like when we open up Drive-Thru and you open up DMs Guild, I mean, the first things you see are our top titles, absolutely. But we have different ways that we will work with publishers. And the other option too is if you feel this way, you're always welcome to reach out to us, and we will give you a list of things that we can do together with you to increase that exposure and increase that consumer interaction. Because there's a lot of tools that people don't utilize that we give for free that really, really do help those interactions. I mean, we've seen that a lot happen when sometimes a publisher who it's their very first title ever will get on hottest titles, because usually, I mean, they'll contact us and we'll say, hey, this is what you need to do to get out into your, through all the titles that we have. And they do pay attention to that. And like I said, yeah, so the short answer is reach out to us and we will give you some feedback and give you some tips. And also it's good for us to know too, because we want to be able to help on our end, because there's things like we can add it to the newsletter that goes out to our customers every Thursday if we have the room for it. If not, then we will try to get it in as well. So I guess, yeah, just contact us and we'll chit chat.
Okay, that's cool. It almost seems like there'd be a place for an occasional meeting with publishers and DriveThru folks, but given the huge number of publishers you guys have, that seems like that might be one of those 500-person Zoom meetings.
I think that's not a bad idea though, like having a town hall. So that's something that would actually be pretty good, especially because on our Discord, I mean, it's so sporadic when people ask questions or have site requests that like it would be good to kind of compress it and give people enough time to get into that. So awesome idea. Yeah. I'm taking it.
Okay. Got a question from Lewis Porter Jr. again. Hey, Lewis.
Hey.
And I'll do my Lewis Porter Jr. voice, which sounds a lot like my Brad Rendell voice. Will there be more benefits for the usage of publisher promotion points in the thousands?
Yes, 100%. One of the things that we're doing is twofold. Looking for more ways to use publisher promotion points. We have some publishers who have a lot. That even just doing banners and deal of the day and things like that, it doesn't even put a dent. So we are currently looking for ways. If you have ideas that you would like us to look into, or you're like, hey, this would be really cool, let us know. Because we don't want to put out a bunch of ideas and say, hey, like, what about this later on? And we're doing that with exclusive publishers too. We find that there's a couple good things about there's a lot of good things about being like an exclusive publisher, but we want to expand on that. We want to give more. So we're working on that and ways to do publisher promotion points with new tools.
Cool. Wow. I want to thank everyone for showing up in the comments section. We don't always have an audience, and it's really exciting when we do.
It's exciting.
So, yeah. Thanks.
You guys are awesome.
So
it's because everyone loves to use one bookshelf, and so you advertise this.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you too, like some of the legacy product that's out there, like like all the old Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Recently, I got wrangled into producing a show for some like really like first generation gamers, guys who created Dungeons and Dragons. So I was like, something, it would be really nice to have, as I gave them away to a bunch of soldiers who deployed. I'd really like to have some like old school 1E books. And, I did the eBay route and I got some with the original covers, but something like Unearthed Arcana that was famous for falling apart. The binding was garbage, though, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I picked up one of the copies from DriveThru and oh my God. So, I mean, I like the orange cover versus the brown cover, but as far as the binding goes, very well done. I mean, what a way to keep those books in circulation and working with like the publisher of that to make that happen. Bravo, that's fantastic. Because now I have one that's not falling apart,
which is awesome.
And I can use it at the game table and use it on the Twitch stream and stuff like that. So, and you don't want to keep James Ward waiting. So, that is fantastic to have stuff like that. All those old legacy games, and even the like the for a lot of these zines coming out, having that shiny cardstock cover with the premium pages and stuff like that. It feels like a magazine. So, I mean, to have that Dead Tree version in your hand beside the digital is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad Randall is agreeing with you in that comment there. I won't do the voice because I'm a little hoarse right now. But so cool. Teach your kids to game sale.
It's coming.
coming sometime later in December before Christmas?
It is, I believe, coming next week.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited about that. It's always such a fun sale. There's so many good titles too. So I'm pretty excited about seeing those. So it's going to be good.
Cool. Yeah, I actually played one of Eric Bloat's games with my kid about 2 weeks ago. He had a Transformers theme game and using a version of the Black Hack. Yeah, so he's been bugging me to have Jacob drop a bunch of Transformers since then.
Jacob does good Transformer.
You know my commission rates.
Yeah, I do. This is all Civil War themed in World War II because he's a history kid. So, hey, another blunt force segue. Please forgive me. Cards. DrivethruRPG is doing new stuff with cards. Tell us about that.
So a lot of times, and we kind of mentioned this before going live, a lot of publishers kind of look at cards and they're like, well, I don't have a card game. I'm like, that's it. But we have cards. They are very reasonably priced. We work with ODT Publishing. They are a fantastic printer, fast turnaround time, and really wonderful. But some of the other things that you can use is when we can go to cons safely, one of the things that we always suggest is printing a code on a card you can give to your customers, which is super awesome. Also, a lot of people, because we have tarot size, a lot of people are using that for monster cards to put on their table. And
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so, or stat blocks or things like that. There's a lot of different ways to use it that doesn't just sit with, oh, I have to have a separate card game. It can always be used as a supplement. We have a lot of publishers who do that, who say, that they have all sorts of different, cards that they can use, even custom poker decks. We've seen people do that if they want, their branding and their game requires, just a deck of cards. You can do that as well too. And they come with talk boxes, which are pretty rad. So they look really, really pretty. But yeah, so those are definitely just a couple suggestions. You can get really, really creative with them. So we highly, highly recommend checking them out. So
I'm talking about you. You're saying the prices were affordable, and I was trying to show that, but it didn't come through so well on the screen share. But yeah, the card print cost calculator, and I'll share that URL up there. Yeah, a US poker card deck, custom artwork, cellophane band. That's $468, 52 cards. That's not bad at all. Yeah. Similar price if you want to do a pack of 20 tarot cards, for stat blocks or villains or whatever. $340. That's really affordable. So. Yeah.
I know a couple of people who just who utilize drive-through cards to produce art. They just make little art cards, and they sometimes use them as flashcards or here's what the NPC looks like in their games.
Oh, dude, that's dope.
It is such a wonderful use of one bookshelf and all the things they have to offer.
Yeah, Alan Barr is in the comments agreeing about the great utility and the wide variety of things you can do with cards. Thanks for chiming in, Alan. We appreciate that. Got a couple. Wow, so many people trying to come in today. Appreciate it. Ryan Danks just showed up in the comments. I'll get him first, and I'll get your question, Lewis. 1 second. My Ryan Danks voice, which will sound much like my Lewis Porter and Brad voice. I'd be interested in knowing if there's anything that's being done in the storefront sides of the industry for sites like Trove that mass pirate our products. That's a good question.
That is a good question. So, those look really nice. As a side note, because just to mention what Alan said, also we have tiles too, and yes, you can print supplements for cards like reference cards and things like that. You can give to GMs at conventions when we can be safe. So on Ryan's question. So this is kind of a tough question because we always encourage our publishers, if they see something on a site, most sites, the site that is mentioned that I won't say out loud, that site, we don't necessarily suggest that you report because it's been said that that information is used in not a great way. But we do encourage our publishers to contact if they see it on a site, not that site, on any other site, to get it taken down. It's usually taken down pretty quickly. Two, most of the time there'll be like a watermark, essentially, like that'll say like Meredith Gerber, customer, whatever, that'll be on the PDF, depending on if you watermark your PDF or not. And we can investigate that for you and take action essentially for that customer. There's a couple different ways that we can help. It's just at a certain point, we have to push it back on the publisher. We're really open to taking in any ideas that we can do, but unfortunately, we wouldn't have the time to sit down and go through every day and say, okay, with Wizards is on here. Okay, Onyx Path is on here. Okay, we have to contact them and we have to contact this person. So we are always open to ideas.
Okay, cool. Two things from Alan real fast.
Alan.
Alan, wait, why don't I get a voice? Well, here you go, Alan.
No, you got to do it as like the 1960s Batman, because he runs Tiny Supers. I'm working for you, Alan. I'm working.
These 8x8 tiles are perfect for con-sized.
That's the Robin
reference
voice.
material. That's the best I can do.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's so good. It's so good.
All right, another question from Lewis Porter Jr.
Yes.
Tiles.
Oh, look, you got to show me up on my own show with your sonorous.
He does have the Optimus Prime voice,
he does.
Cold.
It's real good.
All right, why don't you do Lewis Porter, Mr. Voice Actor? Here, Lewis Porter has a question. Take it away, Jacob. Are you laughing too much now? Okay, fine.
I don't have a Lewis Porter voice.
It's just like 2 octaves deeper. Will OBS start creating business relationships with companies who create physical items, such as Hero Forge, for example? Good question, Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. So we are, without revealing anything, we are in contact with physical companies like that. It all depends on what their contracts are, because we always want to put the publisher first. So if they turn to us and say, it's going to be super expensive, we don't want to do that for our publishers and for our customers too. We want to make sure that it's affordable, that they have a good relationship and things like that. But that is coming. Hopefully, depending if we find people. But we are always are in contact, especially Matt McElroy, who is our business development. He always is in contact with these companies to get physical items, because we know that the War Game Vault people really want tokens. So we're on the lookout for those. So always, yes. Hopefully soon.
Speaking of business partnerships, Astral
Tabletop.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
Astral Tabletop, we partnered with in 2019. They are a wonderful team, super smart, super fantastic. We just launched recently. You can add your title as an Astral module. So what'll happen is the customer will go in and say, I want to buy Meredith Super Cool RPG. And if I have it as an Astral module at checkout, it will let you literally click to input it instantly into Astral, which is really nice. They are constantly doing updates and doing new features. It's a lot more fleshed out than it was when we first met with them in 2018. And they're super receptive of feedback too. So if you want to try Astral out and see how you feel about it, definitely give them feedback, because they're always changing and they're super quick. Most of the time when we say, hey, can we change this? They're instant. So it's really, really nice. And we have a couple of preloaded ones on there too. So we have Cyberpunk Red, actually, because Cyberpunk Red just released. They have an Astral module. We have Call of Cthulhu on there. There's a couple on there that are already preloaded with maps and tokens and things like that for people who just want to start a campaign immediately.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing we didn't mention in the pre-show, but I thought I should bring up, it was in the October newsletter.
Yes.
And hey, wait a second. Dan Hauser is here to share some love. Hey, who has a Dan Hauser voice? Jacob, you want to do some voice acting here?
Hey, left drive-thru. Dan Hauser here. Print on demand rules.
Dan, I am so sorry.
I'm not. I was glad to be here for that. That was awesome.
I love it.
Okay. Yep. Dan, thanks for checking in. And Dan is on YouTube at Retro Station 1989. He plays old school video games, and I think he does his Icons drawing once in a while from the Icons RPG.
Fun.
So check him out.
Awesome.
I've never met you, Dan. I'm sorry.
So I was so happy when I found this. You can now load images directly from your desktop right into your product descriptions. You don't have to do linking to image sites anymore, which is really great. Just wanted to throw that out there as a tip for publishers, because having extra stuff in your description, like good art, really helps drive sales, I think. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we allowed certain links to like PhotoBucket and stuff like that, but then it started to get a little bit where they started like throttling how much you could put on there, and then that was kind of messy. And then we had publishers who were completely right. Alan, I always I love seeing Alan's face. I'm like, yeah, Alan. So when you go to set up a title or edit a title, there is the description box, and then right next to it is a little box that has it where you just click it, you upload it, and then you put it in. So it's a lot easier instead of having it go on a share site or having it go on your own website, and then we have to allow that, and it's just a lot easier for publishers.
Yeah, I was getting images breaking after a few weeks sometimes. With this new one, it doesn't happen. So cool. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody who showed up in the comments. That was really awesome. I like it when you have audience participation. Alan says I'll have to revisit. Wait, Alan says I'll have to revisit all of our titles with that now.
That was actually pretty good, Batman.
That's pretty good.
I was going more for Batman animated series because that's just it's down here, it's lower.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. So, thanks to everyone who came out. Any closing thoughts, Meredith, before we wrap things up?
Aside from thanks for having me, and I'm really glad that we had so many comments. And always, you can find us on our Discord, or you can find us on Twitch if you have more questions, or just email me directly. My email is out there. So you can definitely reach out, and especially if you have feedback, or if you're like, hey, we would really like to see this tool in the new site, or hey, can you explain to me how this tool is going to work in the new site? I am happy to get that answer for you. Yeah, we got such great response today. I almost feel like we should try to do this regularly, but it's December. It's hard to schedule things, so maybe we'll check in January and see what we can do. Would love that. Perfect. All right, Jacob, Walt, thanks to you guys for co-hosting. Really appreciate it.
Woo!
Glad to help.
Meredith, appreciate you coming on and putting up with our shenanigans. Very grateful.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Don't apologize. No one's safe.
It's okay.
And to all our listeners and viewers out there, we'll catch you next time on the BAMF podcast.